Mpoloka, an entrepreneur who joins us to explore how these interventions will foster a more inclusive and thriving entrepreneurial ecosystem for women in business. Mpoloka, thank you so much for joining me and welcome to Botswana Connect.
Thank you.
Right. Empowering women through gender-responsive budgeting. How gender-responsive, in your view, was Ndaba Gaolathe's maiden speech?
I believe the VP's speech was quite aligned to the objective of the country.
Yep.
In terms of transforming the economy, especially when it comes to infrastructural modernization,
right,
as well as innovation. However, when it comes to women entrepreneurship, we are still outnumbered.
Like that, okay. And that's your general feel that women in business or entrepreneurs, women in entrepreneurship, are still outnumbered. And you know, as when I started, I did make mention that you know, the idea is to create an all-inclusive sort of environment, and you know, he went on to make a deliberation. And I'm sure I want you to expand a bit more on the outnumbered part, because the idea is to sort of douse that off and sort of kind of balance out or level the playing field, because what I can do, of course, you can do, and the like. So just give me a bit of more context with the outnumbered part.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you, Joey. In terms of the outnumbered part, I'm specifically referring to the initiatives that the government has previously taken.
Okay.
One of them being the Economic Inclusion Bill.
Okay.
Act, actually, not a bill, because now it's an act.
It's an act, yes.
Yes, which was supposed to look at marginalized groups. And these marginalized groups include women, they include youth,
yes, and
they include the disabled.
Yes, yes, yes. Go ahead.
However, that act, it hasn't been properly implemented, or it's not even being monitored. Mm-hmm. The reason why I'm saying that is that it just ended up as an act.
Right.
And there were no regulations. And when you have no regulations, it becomes very difficult for you to enforce and to monitor.
Mm.
Yes.
But I'm so glad, though, that with that, I'll say, concern, you know, there was emphasis made to the effect that government will overhaul and strengthen institutions responsible for regulation that perhaps will address that issue of outnumberedness, as well as the Economic Inclusion Act. But, you know, as ambitious as men are, women are equally ambitious. Yes. And I want us to speak to the budget. Does it speak to the ambitious woman in business?
I believe the budget is quite ambitious.
Yes.
Like when you look at the amount of funding that has been allocated to infrastructure, modernization, which is about 11.5 billion.
Right.
Yes,
yeah.
That's quite big. And when you also look at the budget that has been allocated to digitization and technology, it's also quite substantial at, I think it was about 1.47 billion.
Quite substantive and ambitious, yes?
Absolutely.
Right.
However, as women, we are still facing challenges when it comes to funding. But what I liked about the Vice President, what he said he was going to make sure that they redefine the role of CEDA as well as the role of BDC. And in doing that, we are hoping as women that they're going to tailor-make some programs that will support us as women and other marginalized groups.
I like that, because that was going to actually be my next question, access to financing. I mean, obviously, you know, there's how we used to do things, there's what the government intends for things to sort of happen. So clearly there's still that outcry that, in as far as funding is concerned, there is that barrier, and the government, that part needs to be addressed. But you're saying you're glad that the minister alluded to that fact that there will be a few changes to allow for for easy access for funding as far as the women is concerned.
Yep.
Right. I just want to just take a little bit just now to speak about the sort of industry that you're in. I see there's a crane next to you, a crane toy, and you're wearing protective clothing and the like. Just give me a brief walkthrough. What's happening there?
What are you looking at?
Yes.
Yes, Joey. What are you looking at? You are looking at somebody who comes from the cranes industry,
right,
like you rightly alluded to. We provide lifting services to the mines, as well as the railway industry and other heavy industries. And right in front of me, for those at home that do not know what a crane is, this is what a crane is.
Right.
What it looks like. You would have seen some of them on the roads. So that's basically what we do. Even when we have a derailed train, we will be called to go and help, because we are able to lift heavy loads that you ordinarily wouldn't lift on your own.
I'm very fascinated, not to sound, like back in the day culturalists, that perhaps that should be a man's job. But that's quite impressive that this is the sort of direction within which you have since found yourself. It's quite amazing. If it's okay for me to ask, what inspired you to get into the hoisting business?
Okay, thank you for that question, Joey.
Yes.
I should have mentioned actually that my background is engineering.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So I spent quite a number of years within the mines, within Botswana mines as well as South African mines. And then I realized that there was a gap in that area. So that's how I ended up in this particular business.
I like that.
It's something that is very familiar to me from where I come from.
And I bet you make it look very easy. I think for me, it would be a jigsaw puzzle. I want to get back to our conversation with regards to the budget and the like, and also to sort of inspire and grow your industry as well, to also be included within this, because ultimately, regardless of gender and or whether able-bodied or nonetheless. With innovation and expert-led growth at the heart of the budget, how can women entrepreneurs step up and take space to ensure that they are not just participants, but also leaders in the ever-evolving different industries? And you could speak to yours, the engineering space.
Thank you so much for that. As women, we need to do more networking, because men generally network. They have the gentleman's agreements. They go to the bar. They go for golf. And that's where they meet potential business partners. So as women, we also need to do that. And we also need to build skills, because we can't say we can do what men can do when we do not have the skills.
And not capacitated.
And not capacitate ourselves. Yes. And then the other thing that we really need to do is to collaborate globally, not just locally. That is very important. Yes. And I believe that the new Ministry of Trade and Entrepreneurship, perhaps maybe with help from embassies, they can actually facilitate those global collaborations for us as women and other marginalized groups. I
think part of the mandate actually speaks to that, because now we are all part of the global neighborhood, and it's important that we must not only shake hands with each other, but with others, be it in the border next to us or across the ocean. I mean, it's just an ocean anyway.
Absolutely.
Right. Now, in your view, what bold moves should government be taking in the infrastructural space to ensure that women entrepreneurs are fully equipped to thrive?
In terms of that space, I would say, first of all, it will be around the digital infrastructure. They must make sure that that is accessible to us. They must also ensure that in terms of logistics, we are able to access good logistics, which talks to roads, so that we are able to access markets, not only internally, but externally as well. Yeah. And then the government must also stand up and train us so that we have those skills that we require in order for us to become entrepreneurs.
Right. Now, okay, go ahead. No, you're not done. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm not done.
Go ahead.
And as I was listening to the VP the other day,
speech,
yes, he mentioned that there will be a lot of infrastructure projects. I would want them to actually make sure that those projects that would have been ordinarily referred to as men's projects, they must make sure that they are inclusive.
Right.
They shouldn't only be focused on men. As women that are in the field should also be given such opportunities to do that. And we can also collaborate amongst ourselves. It doesn't only have to be technical people, because technical people cannot do that on their own. They need supply chain people, they need accountants, they need logistics and so forth. So we should be given the space to collaborate and participate in such projects.
Essentially, let's lebala.
Exactly.
Right. As a way of closing down our conversation, right? Women in business are reshaping economies, and that one is without a doubt.
Yeah.
But challenges continue to persist, right? Now, if you had the finance minister, who's also the VP, Ndaba Gaolathe, here right now, what game-changing policy would you demand to truly revolutionize the entrepreneurial space for women? Say I am him.
Yes.
Give me that game-changing policy. I am the minister. I'm listening.
Mr. Gaolathe, I would like you to revamp the education system, especially basic education, because the way it is designed for children to go to school and then look for jobs. And unfortunately, there are no jobs. We all know that a lot of our graduates are in the streets. Let's revamp that education system and include entrepreneurship at a very early stage, at primary school level, so that we train our children to become better entrepreneurs in the future instead of working for other people. And then the other thing, Gaolathe, that I would like you to do is to make sure that you have a women's entrepreneurship fund. Okay. Yes, that will focus on empowering women, because we are a marginalized group. And not only women, but other marginalized members. And then the other thing that I would like you to do is to make sure that you have capacity building programs and mentorships for women so that they can participate in this economy. And then we must also have gender responsive procurement practices, not only in government, but in the private sector as well, in mining, in state-owned enterprises and so forth. And companies must actually be incentivized, yes, when they include women in economic transformation, women-owned businesses in economic transformation. And lastly, I would like to see you having incubators and accelerated programs for women and other marginalized groups.
I like that. I like that. I really wish I was him. I would have responded, but I'm sure he'll get to appreciate this. And they're quite very, very interesting game-changing policies. The whole idea of teaching the young as they could possibly get, such that now they can become self-reliant and independent. And I don't know if there's anything else that which and I think it's very important, Ibile, you being a woman in business. There are young girls out there, there are young women out there that are trying by all means to break that barrier, to break the space, and also find themselves as entrepreneurs and business women, but they have no idea how to go about it. What has been your secret, and what keeps you going as a woman in business despite challenges?
My secret is actually a very strong support in terms of family.
Right.
It's very important. In terms of other women that are doing similar things, because that is very important. Otherwise, you are going to find yourself very lonely out there.
Right.
That is very key. And then the other thing is really around funding. We mentioned it earlier. It's very difficult to find funding, yes, but let's not give up. And like we said earlier, the new government, the new Botswana, is going to re-look at that and ensure that we have funding. So don't be scared. It can be done.
Get in there, open the door.
Yes.
It is yours for the taking.
Yeah, exactly.
Mpoloka, thank you so much for popping by to have a conversation of this magnitude. It's quite insightful. And all the best in your endeavors.
Thank you so much.
Right. And yes, that's how we come to the end of that conversation. I was speaking to an entrepreneur, Eunice Mpoloka, and we're just basically having a chat regarding the budget speech that was presented on Monday by Ndaba Gaolathe, as well as some of the key takeaways from that, as well as what women actually are need to do in terms of going in business, what government should also do to assist women, and as well as just level the entire playing ground. This is BTV News. You're on Botswana Connects. In Context will follow from 2 until the hour of 6. For now, let me remind you to say no to all kinds of violence. Good afternoon. Let's meet from 2 till 6.
Hey, Botswana, listen, get your family together. It's time to